People are always asking me how they should cook their beef roast. My favorite way is to use the sear and slow roast method. The advantage of this is you're roasting at a much lower temperature, so your roast won't shrink and it'll end up being much more juicy. Because we're roasting at a much lower temperature, we need to first sear the roast. So let's get started. As always, I start by blotting the roast dry with a paper towel. Next, I will lightly oil and then generously season the roast. Now to sear the roast. I like to do it in a large pan with a little bit of oil. I just brown the roast on all sides. Now that I've seared the roast, it's time to put it in the oven. I use an elevated roasting rack and I put it in my preheated 250-degree oven. The idea is we want to roast it nice and slow. Okay, so my roast is in the oven. This is the part that gives people the most anxiety, how long to cook the roast. Well, we have our Omaha Steaks roasting chart, which gives me a good starting point. It tells me that for this 2-pound Chateaubriand, it's going to be about 60 to 75 minutes in my 250 oven. But what I like to use is an external remote thermometer. This way I can monitor the internal temperature of the roast while it's cooking. That way I can pull it out when it hits 120 degrees, so I'm going to end up with a perfect medium rare roast. So when it hits 120 degrees, it's time to take it out of the oven. It's going to continue to cook another 5 to 10 degrees, so I'm going to end up with a perfect medium rare. Just like if I was cooking a steak, I want to let this roast rest. Resting allows the juices to redistribute throughout the roast. For a good rule of thumb, I'll let it rest for 5 to 10 minutes per pound. For a larger roast, like a prime rib, I might go as long as a half hour. Small roasts like this, 10 to 15 minutes should do the trick and it'll be perfect.